Hey, what's up guys? I hope you're all doing well. So in preparations for the Women's World Cup in France that starts on June 7th, I will make a few videos previewing each group and each team. So we're gonna start off with Group A, and Group A consists of France, the host nation, and then Korea, Nigeria, and Norway. So let's start off with France. So France are currently ranked number 4 on the FIFA ranking, and this is the third time they qualified for the World Cup. First time they qualified was in 2003, and the best results so far has been semi-final. And as I said, they are the host nation, so they qualified automatically for this tournament. Now the coach is Corinne Diacre. She's a former player, and she has 121 caps and 14 goals for the national team. And she used to be the assistant manager for the national team before she took the step up to become the head coach for the national team. She's the first woman to take charge of a pro men's team in France, and I think and hope that we will see more of this, more women taking charge of professional men's teams in the future. Now, some stars to keep an eye on in the French team is Amandine Henry. She'll probably be the captain. She's been the captain in the pre-games before this World Cup. Then obviously Wendy Renard, the defender. She's quite a character. She's very noticeable with her big bushy hair, and she's a veteran. She's played a lot of caps and a lot of tournaments for France, so they need that experience in the back for sure. Now, before this tournament during 2009, they won all games except against Germany, and they played all their games in France. And the last 3 games before the tournament, the 3 straight wins: an impressive 4-0 win versus Denmark, and 3-0 win versus Thailand, and a win against China 2-1. And in the last World Cup, they got eliminated in the quarterfinals. So that's France. Now the other team, second team here in the group, is Korea. Now their ranking is the 14th on the FIFA ranking, and this is their second World Cup. So first time was in 2003, and they got so far as to the round of 16 as their best result, and they qualified for this World Cup by finishing on 5th place in the Women's Asian Cup. So they claimed the last spot there for direct qualification from that region. Now the coach is Yoon Dokyo. He played actually in the 1990 FIFA World Cup for Korea. Now he was appointed in 2012, and as a former defender, he managed to organize up a great defense here with the Korean women's national team. They actually didn't concede any goals in the Asian Cup, but they have struggled a little bit recently defensively, which we will get into a little bit later. Now the stars for the Korean team is Ji Soyun from Chelsea, and Cho Sohyun, and Lee Mina. So keep an eye on these 3 players. Now, as I said before, their defense has not been great this year. They conceded a lot of goals, and the last 3 games they lost 1, they drew 1, and they won 1. So they lost against Iceland 2-3, and then lost again against Iceland, and then they they won versus Iceland 1-0, and then a 1-0 loss against Sweden. And the last World Cup they got eliminated in the round of 16. Now their key game, many people think that the key game is against Nigeria, which is their second game. But I'll say the key game here is actually against France. In their first game, the opener, there's gonna be a lot of nerves. There's gonna be an atmosphere that some players might not be able to handle. And if they can keep frustrating the French players during the game, and the longer the game goes on without any goals, the better chance Korea has to get the win actually, and get some good results from this game. So that might be the key game for Korea in this tournament and for this group actually. Then obviously Nigeria is a must-win for Korea if they want to proceed to the next round. So they're playing France on June 7th, the opener as we talked about, and then they play Nigeria on June 12th, and then Norway on June 17th. So that's Korea. So next up is Nigeria, and they're number 38 on the FIFA ranking, and they have actually participated in all the World Cups, all 7 of them. And the first World Cup was in 1991, and their best result so far has been the quarterfinals, and they qualified by winning the Women's African Cup of Nations for the 9th time. So they're quite dominant in Africa. And the coach is Thomas Dennerby, the former Swedish coach, and he was appointed in 2018. And his best result with Team Sweden was a 3rd place in the 2011 World Cup in Germany. And star players to keep an eye on for Nigeria is Asisat Oshoala from Barcelona. She'll be a threat to any team in this tournament. And then also keep an eye on Evelyn Nwabuku, which I think could have a great tournament this year. They had some mixed results this year, and they played against some weak teams. 15-0 win over Niger stands out, but they lost against the higher ranking teams. So if you look at the results against the higher ranking teams, it does not look good before coming into this tournament, because all of these teams are higher ranked than Nigeria. And the last 3 games they drew against Ivory Coast, then they won 5-1 against Halaras Victoria, and then 3-0 win versus Pomorje. And in the last World Cup they got eliminated in the group stage. They lost 2 games and they drew 1. And their key game is Korea, for sure. That's the second game, and it's a must-win if they want to proceed to the next round. So they start off by playing Norway on June 8th, then Korea on June 12th, and then finally France on June 17th. So that's Nigeria. And the last team in this group is Norway, and they're ranked 12 on the FIFA ranking. And they also, just like Nigeria, played in all 7 World Cups. And as I said earlier, the first World Cup was there in 1991. And the best results, they played 2 finals and they have 1 win. So they've been world champions once, and they qualified by winning their qualification group just ahead of Netherlands, the European champions. So they had a good qualification, and they are optimistic before this tournament, as I think they should be. Now the coach is another Swede, Martin Sjögren. He was appointed in 2016, and previously he used to coach Linköping, a Swedish team in the All Sweden team, All Sweden League. So yeah, he was appointed there in 2016, as I said. Now the biggest stars is obviously the one who's not coming, but we'll get to her later. So Maren Mjelde and Caroline Graham Hansen are the two players to keep an eye on, and obviously the biggest star, and you could maybe discuss if she's might even be the best player in the world, Ada Hegerberg. She's not playing because she's having a feud with the Norwegian FA, which is unfortunate for mainly for Norway, but also for the rest of us who would really like to see her play in this tournament. See what she could have done. She's a world-class player and goal scorer. She showed that in the Champions League final. So I think the World Cup is going to be a lot more boring now when she's not coming, unfortunately, but it is what it is. Now they had some decent results this year, and the last 3 games they won against Poland, and then the last against New Zealand, and then a win 7-2 versus South Africa. And in the last World Cup was kind of a disappointment. They went out in a round of 16. So hopefully they can improve this year. Now the key game here is against France, and that's the to win the group. If it goes as we all predict, but if there's something I learned from watching, World Cups and all these big tournaments for many years, is that it never goes as you predict. But before the tournament starts, this is what we have to work with. So I think the second game will be the key game to win the group. So they start off on June 8th against Nigeria, then France on June 12th, and then Korea June 17th. So that's all 4 teams in Group A. Now I do think that France and Norway are the favorites to win this group, and I do believe that France, in power of the home advantage, will win the group. But I expect a close contest against Norway, and then we'll see what the game against Korea will look like, because I believe that's a key game, the opener. An early goal, and I think everything will settle down, and a good result from the first game. If the game flows on and they can get a couple of goals, keep a clean sheet, I think that will do a lot for the